from the cradle to the grave, in his needs as in his pleasures, in his conception of the world and of himself. The man of modern times struggles through a maze of endless complication. Says Charles Wagner, "In today's society, nothing is simple any longer, neither thought nor action, not pleasure, not even dying. Philosophy of simple living says, with our own hands we have added to existence a train of hardships, and lopped off many a gratification. In today's modern age, most of us, suffering the consequences of a too artificial life. The complexity of men's life appears in the number of his material needs. It is a fact universally conceded that men's needs have grown with his resources. Nevertheless, this is not an evil in itself. As for the birth of certain needs, is often a mark of progress. There is no doubt that to feel the necessity of bathing, of wearing fresh linen, inhabiting wholesome houses, eating healthy food, and cultivating our minds is a sign of superiority. But philosophy of simpler living also suggests if certain needs exist by right and are desirable, there are others whose effects are fatal and which are like parasites, live at our expense, numerous and imperious. They engross us completely. Author of the book The Simple Life, Charles Wagner says, "You must go among those who are beginning to enjoy a little ease, to learn how greatly satisfaction in what one has may be disturbed by regret for what one lacks. According to the paradox of wanting more, both people of modest means and the rich exhibit anxious care for their material well-being, especially regarding future needs. However, irony of luxury says, it is not those with the bare minimum who worry most about necessities like clothing or food. Rather, it's often those who have more. Charles Wagner says, and I quote, "It is not the woman with one dress who asks most insistently how she shall be clothed, nor is it those reduced to the strictly necessary who make most question of what they shall eat tomorrow. Rather, it's often those who have more." End quote. According to the law of desire, the more goods a man has, the more he wants. This highlights the insatiable nature of human wants, and the paradox that fulfilling needs leads to new desires, creating an endless cycle of wanting more. The lost art of good living says, the more desires and needs a man has, the more occasion he finds for conflict with his fellow men, and these conflicts are more bitter in proportion as their causes are less just. Diogenes of Sinope once said, "It is the law of nature to fight for bread, for the necessities." This law may seem brutal, but there is an excuse in its very harshness, and it is generally limited to elemental cruelties. However, what we see in today's society is quite different. It is the battle for the superfluous, for ambition, privilege, inclination, and luxury. Stoic says, never has hunger driven humanity degraded to such lower level as envy, greed, and the pursuit of pleasure have. Learned men says, those who give himself up entirely to the service of his appetites makes them grow and multiply so much that they become stronger than he is. And once he becomes slave to his desires, he loses his moral sense, loses his energy, and becomes incapable of discerning and practicing the good. He surrendered himself to the inner anarchy of desire, which in the end gives birth to outer anarchy. That is why, in the moral life, we govern ourselves. However, in the immoral life, we are governed by our needs and passions. Thus, little by little, the basis of the moral life shift, and the law of judgment deviates. In the consumeristic society, people and things come to be estimated at their selling price, or according to the profit to be drawn from them. Capitalist mindset says, what brings nothing is worth nothing. He who has nothing is nothing. However, the art of good living rejects the belief that man becomes happier and better by the increase of outward well-being, and says, nothing is falser than this pretended social axiom. On the contrary, material prosperity without a limit diminishes the capacity for happiness and debases human character. Philosophy of simple life teaches us the worth of a civilization is the worth of the man at its center. When this man lacks moral rectitude, his progress only makes bad worse and further embroils social problems. That's why the unquestionable desire of want has made man neither better nor happier. The man who guides his life by inner law can no more live slave to outward authority, just as a grown bird cannot remain in an eggshell. However, the man who has not yet attained to governing himself can no more live under the law of liberty, just as a young bird cannot survive without its protective shell. Charles Wagner, in his book The Simple Life, says, we must seek and honor true life, restore its value, prioritize things appropriately, and recognize that moral growth is the core of human progress. Wagner says, and I quote, what is a good lamp? It is not the most elaborate, finest product, that of the most precious metal. A good lamp is a lamp that gives good light. And so also we humans, not judged by number of our possessions, pleasures we procure for ourselves, and intellect or status we enjoy, but by virtue of our moral character. And this is not a truth of today, but a truth of all times. The face of the world changing rapidly around us, its intellectual and material factors vary, and no one can arrest these changes. But the important thing is that at the center of shifting circumstance, man should remain man, live his life, make toward his goal, and whatever be his road, he must not lose himself in crossways, nor hamper his movements with useless burdens. He must keep good faith and better devote himself to the essential, which is to his progress. Most people are tempted to believe that simplicity presents certain external characteristics by which it may be recognized. They believe simplicity and lowly station, plain dress, a modest dwelling, slender means, and poverty, these things go hand in hand. Nevertheless, this is not the case. Let's say there are 3 men on the street, the first in his carriage, the others on foot, and one of them shoeless. The shoeless man does not necessarily lead the least complex life of the 3. It may be, indeed, that he who rides in his carriage is sincere and unaffected, in spite of his position, and is not at all the slave of his wealth. It may be also possible that the pedestrian in shoes neither envies him who rides, nor despises him who goes shoeless. And lastly, it is possible that under his rags, his feet in the dust, the 3rd man has a hatred of simplicity, of labor, of sobriety, and dreams only of idleness and pleasure. Thus, it little matter what your position in life. Livery counts for nothing. We must see the heart. No class has the prerogative of simplicity. No dress, however humble in appearance, is its unfailing badge. Under all the forms in which life vests itself, in all its social positions, from the top to the bottom of the ladder, there are people who live simply and others who don't. Henry David Thoreau says, "Simplicity is a state of mind. It dwells in the main intention of our lives. A man is simple when his chief care is the wish to be what he ought to be, that is, honestly and naturally human. And this is neither so easy nor so impossible as one might think. At bottom, it consists in putting our acts and aspirations in accordance with the law of our being. Let a flower be a flower, a swallow, a rock, and let a man be a man, and not a fox, a hog, or a bird of prey. And this is the sum of the whole matter." That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more empowering content. And if our content has inspired you, consider supporting our channel by becoming a member or giving super. Your contributions enable us to keep delivering valuable and uplifting content. Thanks for watching.